All right, hello, and welcome to Camel Finance. I'm your boy Camel, and today it is finally CPI day. I've been looking forward to this day for a little while now. So, in today's episode, I'm going to do a little bit of cryptocurrency news. I want to talk a little bit about stable coins and the nonsense that's going on at the moment. It's currently, as you can see down here, 11, just gone 11 in the morning. So, the CPI data doesn't come out till 1:30 UK time. So, what I'm going to do is record all the first half of this video. Then I'm going to pause the recording, wait for the CPI data to be released at 1:30. Hopefully, it's on a 5 handle. That, of course, remains to be seen. Then I will come back and finish recording the rest of this video, discuss that print, whatever it may be. And then it's important to let the dust settle and look out to the end of the week. They like to use CPI to do a lot of scam wicks, and whether we go up or down strongly today, that doesn't really mean anything because we could, of course, reverse that move tomorrow. So it's important to maintain an unemotional and unbiased stance and make sure we look out to the end of the week and see what can happen over the course of the coming few days. My expectation, if you've been watching the channel, you'll know, is that US CPI in blue will follow the Shanghai Containerized Freight Composite Index in the white. We have seen the latter drop off a cliff, so CPI should follow. The same is true of M2. The rate of change year over year for M2, this is the money supply, has fallen off a cliff on the hard right edge, as you can see here. So this should also lead me to believe that CPI will indeed be lower. Of course, by the time you're watching this video, you probably already know what the CPI data is, so maybe there's a chance I look a bit silly right now. Finally, here we go. January 2023 CPI forecast, 6.1% year over year versus 6.2 consensus, says James. He says the market's going to pop 1.5 to 2% at open. China reopening pushed some CPI elements, but the Bureau of Labour Statistics are changing the composite weights. As you can see here, so the new weights are in the darker blue and the older weights are in the lighter blue. I've been saying for a couple of days that they have continued to mess around with the way the CPI basket is calculated. They've always messed around with the way the basket is calculated, but they have been updating it as of late, as of this year. So we'll see how it goes. I didn't really want to cover this, but I think as a content creator, I can't really ignore it. Paxos is going to stop issuing dollar-pegged Binance token. So the stablecoin BUSD is apparently going to be halted. It has been halted. Before we get into this, I just want to point out a couple of things. I don't really give much energy or time to stablecoins because I've never really trusted them. So I don't really use them. I've never really owned them. I don't really trust them. I have said before, and I've made a video about USDT Tether. If I was going to pick one, that would be the one I would pick. But that opinion is really worthless and doesn't mean anything because I don't actually hold any stablecoins whatsoever. Part of the reason I don't hold any stablecoins ever is because I just kind of always figured eventually someone would come after them, and we seem to be living through that moment in time at the moment. My 2 cents for what it's worth, and it is worth only 2 cents, maybe even less than 2 cents, is that these were never really going to be allowed because they are direct competitors to CBDCs. So if they were going to end up being a thing, then perhaps they're going to have to overcome a war, a battle against CBDCs. That's my thoughts. I don't know how much weight that opinion holds. I don't know whether I'm off the mark by a mile here. Maybe I am. From my mind, the only things that can really exist in the future are things that are chosen to exist, such as CBDCs, and then things that are truly censorship resistant, such as Bitcoin. And Ethereum, I think, falls into the former category. I think it's perhaps going to be around because it's been chosen to be around because they're going to build CBDCs on it. But Ethereum is certainly not censorship resistant. Bitcoin is really the only truly censorship resistant form of money that the world actually has to offer. And that is why I spend so much time on Bitcoin and tend to ignore the rest of this stuff that's out there. Anyway, let's quickly get into this because CC from Binance has posted a short thread here and it covers whether or not this whole thing is an issue. So he says BUSD, in summary, is issued and redeemed by Paxos. So he's inferring here that they have nothing to do with it at Binance and the funds are safe. Okay, if you don't know the SAFU, that's like an inside joke. Don't worry about that. We were informed by Paxos that they've been directed to cease minting new BUSD at the New York Department of Financial Services. Paxos is regulated by this place, and BUSD stablecoin is wholly owned and managed by Paxos. So as a result, BUSD market cap is only going to decrease over time because if they're going to stop minting new coins, then all that can happen is people that currently hold BUSD, all they can do is exchange them. They can give them back to Binance. Binance will replace them with a dollar, a real fiat dollar, and they will burn the BUSD stablecoin. And as such, the market cap can only go down now because they're no longer going to mint any more tokens. Paxos is going to continue to service the product and manage redemptions. Paxos is also assured that all funds are safe and fully covered by reserves in their bank, with their reserves being audited many times by various audit firms already. So there's, in theory, according to CZ at least, there's no real risk here if you are a Paxos or a BUSD token holder. There's really nothing to worry about according to CZ at least. And so lastly, he goes on to say that if this stablecoin is ruled as security by the courts, it will have a profound impact on how crypto industry will develop or not develop in the jurisdictions where it is ruled as such. But of course, this whole thing is kind of silly because this SEC, it only applies to the US, so they can just take the coin elsewhere abroad and then make the same thing all over again. I don't know. The whole thing kind of seems a bit silly to me. Binance is going to continue to support BUSD for the foreseeable future. We do foresee users migrating over to stablecoins over time, and we will make product adjustments accordingly, e.g. move away from using BUSD as the main pair for trading. Given the ongoing regulatory uncertainty in certain markets, we will be reviewing other projects in those jurisdictions to ensure users are insulated from any undue harm. And then somebody asked him, why not go for another issuer? And CZ says, we are exploring others and non-USD based stablecoins. So they're going to continue to be this sort of battle. People are going to try to do this. And then ultimately, I think there's going to be some pushbacks because the central banks don't want any of these sorts of products that compete with their CBDCs. That's my 2 cents. Maybe I'm way off here. Maybe this is just the SEC swinging its stuff around here and trying to assert dominance. That remains to be seen. It doesn't, like I said, I haven't really given this much energy because it doesn't really affect me. I don't use stable coins. I don't really care for this sort of thing. But I felt like I should probably at least mention it. Bigger picture here is Singapore's largest bank, DBS, will apply for a Hong Kong license to launch Bitcoin and crypto services. So again, we continue to see more and more of these massive banks worldwide step in to offer Bitcoin and crypto services. Of course, they are having to scramble to do this because if they don't, they're just going to get left behind. At the same time, another record high of 66.9% of circulating Bitcoin has not moved in over a year. The bear markets end where there are no sellers remaining. The price starts slowly drifting up due to any marginal buyer, and the next wave of adopters learn Bitcoin is the least uncertain money. And so here you can see when the orange metric rolls over, this typically coincides with bull markets for Bitcoin. At the same time, risk markets, including Bitcoin, are at or close to a bottom, as you can see here. And so all we need now is to see the US CPI data come in cold, come in on a 5 handle preferably. That would be my favorite thing to see. I think as long as it's below the 6.2 forecast and the 6.5 previous, then I think risk will rally strongly. I kind of wouldn't be surprised to see core creep up month over month, but certainly if that can be at forecast or below, then things should be looking pretty positive for risk. So using the magic of editing, I'll come back. It's 11:20 at the moment. I'll come back at just gone 1:30 and I'll update this and then we'll finish this video and have a look at some charts. And we're back. We have the data in. So US CPI headline 6.4%. Above forecast, above my expectation of a 5 handle. I was thinking like 5.9, so I was quite off this time around, but that's okay. We are just in below the previous month's readout of 6.5%. So inflation is still coming down. This is a little hotter than I expected, but I don't think it ultimately changes the trajectory. We have month over month coming in on forecast, so that's okay because that would have been priced in. CPI core, month over month as forecast, as you can see. And again, a little bit above forecast for the CPI core year over year. However, still below the prior month's readout. So I did say, I think earlier in this video, if not earlier in the week, that they changed the way they calculate it. So it is what it is. As I have been saying over and over again, and I think even in this morning's recording, all these readouts are fake. They don't really mean much. But ultimately, we did indeed get CPI lower than the prior readout, so that's good enough for me, and even if it is slightly above forecast. So now the question becomes, what happens to the markets in the meantime? Well, as it stands, the UKX doesn't really care. As you can see, the FTSE 100 continues to press on upwards. Precious metals up ever so slightly green, but like not really anything significant. That suggests to me that the dollar could well be rolling over, and that appears to be. So look at that, okay? The dollar, as we can see, possibly thinking about losing this long upward sloping blue support line that we've held for some time. So we got below. Did we just sort of fake out to create a bull trap? And then now are we about to roll over and close below? Of course, it's the daily closes that matter. But if this is going to do what I think it's going to do, which is sharply reverse over the near term, then we will certainly see risk come on. So that means good things should happen for the likes of crypto and the stock market. Of course, we will need to take that one day at a time. The US 10-year yield is currently back testing this. So is this going to hold? Is this going to be breakout retest resumption for a move higher? I would think since CPI is coming down, the answer is no, and it's likely going to come back down here, and we'll see risk come on again. So another encouraging sign. Look at the VIX, okay? VIX coming in for a back test of the breakout level. So breakout retest, is this going to resume? Are we going to get a stock market crash? I don't really think so. And I have been saying this when I showed all my positions ahead of time and I called all this stuff out. I did say that I'd kind of hope this got stopped out because obviously this is an insurance policy. This was a hedge. So I'm going to let this play out because the US stock market still isn't open. But I would think this is likely going to get stopped. That's absolutely fine because I want this to be stopped because that means that the rest of the stock market will be doing okay. If I hop into this melt up chart, then what you can see is we look set to gap higher as we open up. Now, of course, this can change and this doesn't really mean anything, but you could argue that we're about to break out of this little bull flag here. So is that what's going to happen? I don't know. As ever, we need to take everything one day at a time. But make sure you come back and check out tomorrow's video, and I'll make sure we're examining the closes, and I'll update you on any positions. But as it stands, everything that I took, all positions that I took, and I posted and showed you ahead of time on the Saturday recording, the Saturday just gone, all of those positions are being pushed. The one I think I might have to pay a stop on is the VIX, as I've already kind of said, but that's fine because that was indeed an insurance policy. So initially some encouraging signs, but certainly too early to celebrate. CPI, if it had been on a 5 handle and everything had come in significantly lower like I was expecting, then I think I would have been a lot more relaxed than I am. But as it stands, I don't think I'm going to have to pay too many stops. I think I'm positioned right. I think we're going to continue to press on, and I think we're going to continue to validate this melt up. But we will need to take things one day at a time. If you found value here today, I'd appreciate it if you could drop a like on the video. Drop a like if you appreciate me being the trader that shows you all of my positions in real time ahead of the event. Anything can happen, so I am by no means safe. I am by no means counting my chickens. So far, I'm just taking it one day at a time. Hit that subscribe button if you want to continue to get trade setups and callouts ahead of time for free. If you want to continue to see and get updates on all of my positions and modifications, win, lose, draw, no matter what. And in the meantime, take care from me. All the best. Cheers. Bye.